that are there in the paper, and even the oil minister Dharmendra Pradhan has gone on to say that fuel demand in the country is back to 65% of year-ago level. India has regained 65% of its appetite for fuel, and demand will reach nearly pre-pandemic levels next month as economic activities pick up pace after the government's announcement of a stimulus package and staggered easing of corona restrictions, is what the oil minister has said, and his quote is of course there in the paper. At the same time, let's now take a look at the other stories which are there on the front page of the Sunday Times. Wholesale veggie prices crashed during lockdown. Now, these are some of the impacts of the lockdown. What's happening in the market right next to you? There are 15 items which are down due to distress sale and low demand. In the 2 months since the country went into lockdown, vegetable prices have crashed in wholesale markets across states. The only exception is the potato, which is at just under 20 rupee a kg on average and is almost double what it sold for in May last year. There are many other regular vegetables which are mentioned in this piece here, the prices of which have crashed. Now, despite people staying at home, the problem that the wholesale veggie sellers are at the moment facing is that there is low demand. Distress sale and low demand is something that is making these prices really crash. We will also, in fact, cover this story extensively on Times Now and get you the detailed inputs from our reporters. But just take a look at some of the other stories on the front page. It's, in fact, also focusing on minimum contact as IGI gears up to resume operations. Now, remember that even if the country has come in lockdown 4.0 with considerable relaxations, the fact is that you yourself have the responsibility of making minimum contact, especially during the operations at airports as well. After 2 months of the coronavirus-induced lockdown, Indira Gandhi International Airport is all set to resume 1/3 of the domestic flights from Monday. The first flight will take off at 4:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. There will be initially 190 departures and 190 arrivals from the airport's Terminal 3 daily, which are likely to benefit about 40,000 passengers. Now, that is something that we will be keeping a close watch on. Flight operations for domestic services are resuming tomorrow morning. And of course, many people were already waiting for these services to resume after the railway services started. If we talk about other important stories which are covered by the Sunday Times on its front page, COVID beds running out in city private hospitals. Primarily, we are focusing on Delhi-specific stories. And as far as COVID beds in city private hospitals are concerned, the paper points out that there is a shortage. About 80% of beds earmarked for COVID-19 patients in 8 city private hospitals are already taken, with 507 of a total of 631 occupied. Top hospitals, they are also named here, like Apollo, Max, Smart, Fortis, and Sir Gangaram City and Sir Gangaram Colmed in Pusa Road are almost full. Remember, Delhi already has crossed the 12,000 mark in reporting the total number of coronavirus cases. Therefore, this is in fact an important bit of information for the viewer there, for those who are missing on the newspapers, that city hospitals are actually, at the moment, private hospitals are struggling a bit in keeping pace with the inflow of patients that we are witnessing. At the same time, there are other stories. If you go to the bottom half of the Sunday Times and take a look at the temperatures which are soaring in the national capital, we are almost at the end of one of the hottest months in north of India, and that's May. Low winds turn on the heat, and they have shown a beautiful picture of the Raisina Hill as well to, in fact, make the impact. The capital turned into a dry oven on Saturday, is what the paper says, with baking hot winds pushing up the mercury 5 notches above normal and causing mirages. Now, this is the temperature that has been recorded yesterday, 45.6 degrees Celsius, at least 5 above normal. And what's causing it? Dry, sizzling northwesterly winds, which is also known as the Loo in local circles, blowing across the region. And we have mainly clear skies here up north. Torrid till Thursday is what we are expecting. Heat wave is likely to continue till the 28th of May. Dust storm and rain along with gusty winds at 50 to 60 kilometers per hour expected after May 28th. On May 29th and 30th is what the Met Department in fact has predicted. Well, there are also other updates which are coming in from the railways. Just take a look at this small snippet here. In this column, the paper is also educating us about the railways plan of 2.6 thousand special trains for 36 lakh migrants. Remember, despite running these Shramik special trains for a while now, there are many people who are stuck and stranded in various parts of the country, and the railway is planning to expand their services further. Indian Railways plans to run 2,600 more Shramik special trains in the next 10 days to ferry nearly 36 lakh migrants. Railway Board Chairman V.K. Yadav said trains could also be run within states. Around 10 to 12 lakh people could travel in them. There are many takers for the railways and their services as they pick up pace. Let's now shift our focus to your favorite Hindi newspaper, and that's the Navbharat Times. Navbharat Times में आज सुबह की सबसे बड़ी खबर ये है कि अब तक 41% कोरोना मरीज ठीक हो चुके हैं देश में. जो हमारा रिकवरी रेट है उसने हेडलाइंस बनाई हैं आज के नवभारत टाइम्स के फ्रंट पेज पे. 41% का रिकवरी रेट पेपर ने रिपोर्ट किया है. देश और दिल्ली में कोरोना संक्रमण की रफ्तार तेजी से बढ़ रही है. शनिवार को जहां दिल्ली में 591 केस मिले तो देश में रिकॉर्ड 6,654 नए लोगों को वायरस ने अपनी चपेट में लिया. पिछले एक हफ्ते में देश में 5 दिन रिकॉर्ड मरीज सामने आए हैं, लेकिन संख्या ज़्यादा होने के बावजूद जो 41% का रिकवरी रेट है वो काफ़ी बड़ी पॉजिटिव न्यूज़ है. और ग्राफिक्स के ज़रिए भी आपके अखबार ने इसे अच्छी तरह से समझाया है कि कहां पर हॉटस्पॉट्स हैं. टॉप 5 जो स्टेट्स हैं जहां मरीज सबसे ज़्यादा है वो है महाराष्ट्र, जो कि खुद 44,000 का आंकड़ा पार कर चुका है. तमिलनाडु, गुजरात, दिल्ली और राजस्थान वो 5 स्टेट हैं जो सबसे ज़्यादा फिलहाल चिंता का कारण बनी हुई हैं. साथ ही टॉप 5 अगर देशों की बात की जाए तो टॉप 5 देशों में फिलहाल भारत का नाम कहीं नहीं आता. ये भी राहत की खबर है. अमेरिका में सबसे ज़्यादा कोरोना वायरस के केसेस हैं. 16 लाख के पार आंकड़ा हो चुका है सिर्फ अमेरिका का. उसके बाद आता है ब्राज़ील, रशिया, स्पेन और ब्रिटेन. कुल मिलाकर कितने मरीज हो चुके हैं? 53 लाख से ऊपर पूरे विश्व में कोरोना वायरस के, और कुल मिलाकर मौतें जो हैं वो 3,40,000 के पार हो चुकी हैं कोरोना वायरस के चलते. तो ये सबसे बड़ी खबर है आज के नवभारत टाइम्स की. उसके साथ ही हिंदी अखबार ने भी फोकस किया है कि इंटरनेशनल उड़ानें अगले महीने से, और ये सवालिया निशान है क्योंकि सिविल एविएशन मिनिस्टर हरदीप पुरी ने इसकी तरफ इशारा किया है अपनी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंसेज में. केंद्र को उम्मीद है कि इंटरनेशनल फ्लाइट्स जो हैं अगस्त से पहले या फिर हो सकता है मिड जून तक शुरू हो जाएं. 25 मई से देश के अंदर विमान सेवा शुरू होने की तैयारियों के बीच शनिवार को केंद्रीय नागरिक उड्डयन मंत्री हरदीप सिंह पुरी ने कहा कि अगस्त से पहले भारत अच्छी खासी संख्या में अंतर्राष्ट्रीय उड़ानों को शुरू करने की कोशिश करेगा. तो ये एक और बड़ा कदम होगा नॉर्मलसी की तरफ जब डोमेस्टिक फ्लाइट सर्विसेज रिज्यूम हो जाएंगी कल से. उसके बाद इंटरनेशनल फ्लाइट्स को भी रिज्यूम करने की बात कर रही है सिविल एविएशन मिनिस्ट्री. और लेकिन अब सबसे बड़ा सवाल ये होगा कि क्या बाकी के देश तैयार हैं दूसरे देशों के नागरिकों को अपने यहाँ स्वागत करने के लिए, या फिर क्या ये फ्लाइट सर्विसेज उन लोगों के लिए है जो अपने रिश्तेदारों के पास या काम के लिए ट्रैवल करना चाहते हैं दूसरी कंट्रीज़ में. क्योंकि इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज़ अब धीरे धीरे करके हर देश में खुल रही हैं और भारत में बड़े तौर पर भी खुल रही हैं. आगे बढ़ते हैं एंड लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द लीडिंग बिजनेस डेली ऑफ द कंट्री, एंड दैट्स द इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स. इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स कम्स अप विद योर फेवरेट magazine every Sunday. So I'm going to focus on the lead story of the magazine, and this is something that must concern our defense circles. It is related to the elevated aggression from China's side. China's upping the ante at multiple border points, and Nepal's new maps are not coincidental. India should watch out for aggression from its western neighbor as well. That's the gist of the story. The details are there in the magazine paper, and in fact this is related to the recent concerns which have been highlighted in defense circles. And It also talks about how Nepal is being actually used in a way at the moment by China to further its agenda against India. This is one of the leading articles of this paper, and let's just quickly go through some other pages of the paper and tell you what is making the other parts of this magazine. Because it's a Sunday magazine, there are a lot of editorial pieces as well that you can go through. At the same time, the paper, of course, talks about the looming disaster, perhaps when it comes to the handling of the economy and various other issues that arose because of the lockdown of more than 2 months. With nearly 20% of India's total COVID-19 burden and an acute shortage of hospital beds, India's financial capital is faced with a perfect storm. They are talking about specifically the city of Mumbai, India's financial capital. Your channel, Times Now, in fact, has also run a series of news on how the matters are in a way going out of hand when it comes to the city of Mumbai. The hospitals are full and people are struggling really at the moment in controlling the number of cases of coronavirus in the country, in the city of Mumbai particularly. Now, I'm going to quickly shift our focus to city-specific news, and right at the top, I also spoke about one bit of news which has come in from the city of Delhi, the national capital. Wholesale veggie prices are crashing during lockdown. I'm going to go across to my colleague Sherin, who's joining us now with more inputs on this. Sherin, you also, in fact, filed a story yourself from one of the wholesale vegetable markets in the country. Just give us a sense of what is bringing down these prices. How are the wholesale vegetable sellers suffering because of the lockdown and the low demand?
Well, Preeti, there are numerous reasons for the vegetable wholesale prices that has been crashed now. One is, of course, that the bulk buyers has always been the restaurants and hotels. And now we are seeing that they have, in fact, been closed down. Only the delivery takeout is only working in these restaurants. And that is why the sale has gone down considerably when it comes to wholesale vegetable. Secondly, the marriages and the parties have also not allowed anymore. So from there also sale is not happening. One of the significant point is, of course, when we talk about Azadpur Mandi, where the wholesale price have crashed to a new level which has not happened in the past, is because Azadpur Mandi is one of the biggest mandis and they supply it to the NCR region as well. So now we are seeing that how the borders have been sealed and the sale is not happening. They are not able to distribute it, take it to these areas. Not just the NCR, states like Punjab and Himachal also used to get supplies from Azadpur Mandi. So clearly the sale has taken a hit, and because of that the wholesale price of the vegetables have gone down. But when you talk about the retail price, when it comes to your or my locality, we have seen the retail price remains the same. It is high, around 25 to 30 per kg. But when it comes to wholesale of these vegetable prices, we are seeing that the tomatoes and onion, tomato is just for rupees 2 per kg in Azadpur Mandi, and onions are at rupees 5 per kg in Azadpur Mandi, and similarly in Okhla Mandi as well as in Ghazipur Mandi. So clearly the wholesale vendors and also the farmers who are incurring this loss are hoping that in coming days, when restaurants and hotels and marriages will come in place, things will be better for them.
Right, and we are hoping the same for them. Thanks very much, Sherin, for getting us those inputs on this story. Let's move on now to Mumbai edition of the Sunday Times, and what does it show to us today? One of the leading stories on the front page of Mumbai is that Maharashtra government has allowed trains but says no to domestic flights. Now, domestic flights is something that has really started a war of sorts between the Maharashtra government and the government at centre. Arunil is with me for more inputs on this story. I'm going to request him to at least give us a sense of, what's happening on ground, Arunil. Mumbai being the financial capital, many people, because of their business as well, would have to travel to this city. What exactly are the concerns raised by the state government?
Well, if we look at the tweet that the Maharashtra Home Minister basically made yesterday late night, he tweeted about it, saying that the decisions to basically have flights in the red zone areas of Mumbai and Pune, he called it very illogical. And now, basically, in the Times of India today, you can see the newspaper has given its own point of view, mentioning about it like how lakhs of people coming from other parts of the country, they can enter the city of Mumbai and Pune via trains. That has been allowed. And similarly, lakhs of people from Mumbai, which is a red zone, and Pune as well, which is a red zone, can go to other parts of India via train. That has been allowed. But the number of people traveling by flight is very less. As well as you also need to account that the security measures at an airport in a flight is very high as compared to any train. The train travel journey takes more than 12 hours to 20 hours in some cases, whereas the flight travel journey takes only 1.5 hours. That also, food is not involved in the flight journey. In the train travel journey, food is also involved. So it is the risk of getting infected with the coronavirus is many times higher in a train journey, but that has been allowed by the Maharashtra government. But unfortunately, why air travel is not being allowed, Mumbai being the financial capital of the country, and so many tickets have been booked by passengers, everybody is going to be affected by this. But yes, the Maharashtra government has made its intention very clear with the tweet that the Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh made last night, saying that they see this decision very illogical, because it will be very difficult for the Maharashtra government to make arrangements of travel to and fro from the airport. So basically, autos, buses, other Ola cabs are not at present functional for normal people in the city of Mumbai, and also mentions about it that thermal screening is not enough to basically detect the coronavirus, which is actually true. So yes, we also need to consider the number of cases that have been coming up from the state of Maharashtra. Every day more than 2,500 cases coming up, and every day close to 1,500 cases coming up from the city of Mumbai itself. So well, yes,
that's right.
Basically number is
That's
very
right.
close to 50,000.
In fact, the state government is quite clear that they will only consider flights in cases of emergency, but at the moment they are not prepared to handle the influx of passengers through domestic services. Thanks very much, Arunil. I want to move on now to Bengaluru edition of the Sunday Times this morning, and the leading story from the state of Karnataka happens to be record jump of 216 cases in Karnataka, which has taken the tally to above the 2,000 mark in the state of Karnataka, which has in fact been doing exceedingly well for the last 2 months to control the spread of coronavirus. But now that things have opened up, there are many more people out on the streets. We're seeing new cases being recorded in the state, and this says that 90% of those cases have come from other states. Let's go across to my colleague Imran, who's joining us live now for more inputs on this. Imran, this is interesting that a state which was able to control the numbers so far is now perhaps in a bit of a tight spot with the 90% cases coming from other states.
Well, absolutely. The state government had released a policy that people who are coming either by rail, airport, or through seaports, they have to undergo 7-day institutional quarantine. And a lot of people had made issues about that. If at all Karnataka government is facilitating the travel, why everyone has to go to institutional quarantine. So now there is a relaxation has been given if you are a corporate honcho, trader, or a businessman or a professional, that if you have a COVID positive report from ICMR, then they don't need to undergo institutional quarantine. Then they can be in the state for 5 days for any urgent business work, and the report should not be less than 2 days. It has to be ICMR tested laboratories, and the report should have negative, so allowing them to come to Karnataka on an urgent basis, and they will be allowed in case they have a report. It is given extension to especially the 7 states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, the high-risk states, and if they're coming from there and for any urgent work business activity to Karnataka, they will have to produce now ICMR COVID negative report.
So these are some of the measures that the state government is initiating to make sure that the numbers still stay in control, and of course people follow that mandatory period of quarantine. after travel. Thanks very much, Imran. In fact, I want to move on now to city edition of Kolkata. Remember, the state of West Bengal is not just handling coronavirus crisis, but they're also handling the aftermath of cyclone Amphan. So that is the top story from the paper this morning. Army state joint operations to clear city road log jam. Chief Minister steps in to soothe frayed tempers in Kolkata, and the extent of damage is also listed in the paper. Let's go across to Tamal Saha, who's joining me live now. Tamal, as far as the city of Kolkata is concerned, the after effects of super cyclone Amphan is something that's grabbing all the headlines in the leading paper. Just give us a sense of the situation on ground. The paper suggests that the life is still disrupted in home and outdoors.
Well, very much. And the situation continues to remain very grim. We know, as a matter of fact, more than 1,000 teams have been deployed across Bengal to basically do the restoration work. Yesterday, the state government had approached for Army's help, and Army was soon to respond. In fact, with 5 columns of Army being deployed in Kolkata for the restoration work, especially in areas like Southern Avenue, in and around Kolkata, like Diamond Harbour, Behala, Tollygunge. Now, these are the places where roads have been completely cut off with the uprooting of trees. And these are not small trees, they are huge trees, and just not traffic disruption. These trees had also taken down poles, electricity poles, wires, and power connection had also been disrupted. So until and unless these roads get cleared, restoration and further communication and power would be difficult. The reason why you're seeing at several places people had even broken out protests. So yes, at this point in time, NDRF, SDRF, Army, Kolkata Police, the corporation people, all have been deployed to ensure restoration work can happen.
All right. Tamal, something that we will, of course, be covering here on Times Now as well. For the moment, thanks very much. I want to quickly move on to the Chennai edition of the Sunday Times. And, well, what is making headlines this morning from the city of Chennai is the fact that 2 months into lockdown, Tamil Nadu cases zoom past the 15,000 mark, and toll is now above the 100 mark. Shabir is with me to give us a sense of what's happening in the city of Chennai. Shabir, Tamil Nadu, of course, is one of the worst affected states, coming in top 5 states of the country which are contributing maximum numbers of coronavirus. Now, just give us a sense of how is it that situation is getting a little difficult, 15,000 plus cases in the state?
Well, that's right. On a daily basis, Tamil Nadu is reporting more than 500 cases. In some cases, it's 600. And yesterday, it was 700 cases. And Chennai reported one of the biggest, spike in the number of COVID-19 positive cases. Chennai alone has 9,000 cases, and all across Tamil Nadu, it's totally 15,500 cases, more than 15,500 cases. There have been different strategies that have been adopted by the health department and the Tamil Nadu government, but that isn't working. The infection is spreading fast in containment zones in areas like Royapuram, which are now become the hotspots of COVID-19 in Chennai. At least 7 to 8 areas in Chennai have identified as hotspots where more and more cases.
Right. So all these hotspots contributing and taking the city's tally to above the 15,000 mark. Shabir, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you very much for getting us those inputs. I want to now shift our focus to latest sports news that the Sunday Times is reporting, and Times Sport is giving us some bit of good news when it comes to resumption of sporting activities. Liga may be back soon. Karishma is with me for more inputs on this. Karishma, after Bundesliga, it seems that the government of Spain is also in the mood to go ahead and start Liga as well.
Well, it's absolutely, Preeti. That is good news for football lovers as well, that La Liga will be restarting from June. In fact, what we're given to understand is that the training could start as soon as 8th of June, and the tournament could see its return from the 12th of June. The Spanish PM yesterday had announced that Spain would also be open to foreign visitors from July. So clearly, Spain is also moving towards normalcy now, and sport is resuming in Europe. We first had Bundesliga in Germany that started in empty stadiums, and now La Liga, that is all set to return from the 12th of June in Spain.
And of course, sports organizers in India are closely watching these developments. Could be, in fact, a cue for us to restart sporting activities here in India. Thanks very much, Karishma. Now, if we take a look at top global news reported by the Sunday Times, Times Global gives us this bit of information that bill seeks H-1B visa reform prioritizing U.S. degree holders. A bipartisan bicameral group of U.S. lawmakers on Friday reintroduced a fine-tuned legislation aimed at reforming the skilled guest worker program to prevent flight of American jobs and outsourcing while giving priority to absorbing U.S.-educated foreign technology professionals. Now, this is something that India would be keeping a close watch on. And of course, that crash of a plane in Pakistan is another bit of international news. Sad story just before Eid, 97 of 99 on board killed. And there are just a few survivors who are recalling the horror of the final moments just before the plane crashed. Now, if we talk about the day's entertainment news, take a look at this. Salman Khan unveils poster of Rajkumar Santoshi's Bad Boy. Remember, this is after many years that on Eid we don't have a single release of Salman Khan movie, but he is releasing the poster of Rajkumar Santoshi's Bad Boy, which will also mark the debut of Mithun Chakravarti's son, Namashi Chakravarti, and another debutant, Amreen Qureshi. Well, there is also a quote from actor Gauhar Khan, who says that this Eid is going to be all about being thankful for what we really have. And that also, in fact, wraps up this edition of the newspaper show for us. Hope I did justice to you in bringing down the leading headlines from across the country. Thanks for joining us.